What are we doing out there?
This is a Peregrine Falcon release project, actually, that we're participating in, SOAR, along with Rock City. And this is our fourth release, fourth year releasing Peregrine falcons into the wild, in hopes to repopulate the Chattanooga area with Peregrine falcons who once existed in this area. The exciting thing about this is we actually have one of the Peregrine falcons fitted with a satellite telemetry device. So we will be able to track this bird's movements no matter where it goes in the entire world. And not only that, we'll be cooperating with another larger group that tracks Peregrine falcon movements throughout the entire world. So we'll be in a large group of folks that do this research.
Plus with that satellite transmitter, he gets a free 3-month subscription to HBO.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, so
watch TV off his back.
How old are these guys?
They're only 6 weeks old, believe it or not. Birds of prey, once they hatch, grow very rapidly, and this is traditionally when they fledge from their nests in the wild.
Okay.
Talk a little bit about the release this morning, just kind of how it went, kind of what all happened.
Well, the release went fairly well. We were able to lower the box down and let them come out when they wanted to, which is a good thing. You don't want to force them to fly out. And that, of course, Lookout, the one fitted with the satellite transmitter, came out first, and Chatty kind of lingered and enjoyed the view. And that's what you want to see. You want them to just go when they want to. We're happy with that, and the fact that, especially on Chatty, made a nice big flight out there over the valley, and they look good flying. Now we just have to go find both of them.
So now, originally, how did these birds get here? Is this an annual thing, I guess?
These birds were actually captive bred in Minnesota, and we acquired them from a breeder, and that's where they came from.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, we generally get with Rock City and see how many birds they want to try to release in the coming year. And we contact some of the breeders that we know. So peregrines this year were actually a little bit more difficult to come by than normally, because the state of South Dakota is doing something like this, except in much greater numbers. I think they're releasing 40 to 50 peregrines in their state. So we're just glad to be able to get a few to be released here. So in addition to these two today, their brother's downtown. His name is Bruce, and he's been down there for about 6 days now, flying free. So maybe they'll all get together. So,
yeah.
Family reunion.
Yeah.
So what's the benefit of raising them and releasing them as opposed to them just hanging out in the wild?
Well, what we do here is actually get them used to this area before we release them. Since there aren't many peregrine falcons in this area, actually none in Chattanooga, it's very advantageous for us to release them into the wild. And this is a great way to do it. It gets them acclimated to the area before they are released. So that's definitely the benefit.
And generally an area where a young bird of prey learns to fly, it's the area it returns to if it survives and reaches adulthood, to come back to the general area where it learned to fly. I mean, we could bring in a wild peregrine somewhere and, hey, come back next year. And it may not work, but well, it won't work at all, because that bird is going to return to its natal grounds where it learned to fly in that general vicinity. And the hacking, as it's called, has been used with a lot of species, bald eagles, ospreys, peregrine falcons, and it's been a very effective tool in helping restore populations, or actually establishing populations in an area.
What hacking is actually, while the bird's learning how to hunt itself, we actually feed it or supplement its diet. We put food on top of the release box, and if the bird actually starts to get hungry, they traditionally come back to the box to feed. And that's what Bruce is doing in Chattanooga. He's actually feeding on top of the Blue Cross Blue Shield building.
Yeah.
So, and he's doing great every day.
We're hoping that Chatty and Lookout are going to do the same here, and of course as Delta will provide food, we start bringing in some catered meals and seeing what they like and dislike.
And the next step with the transmitter, how does that work? What's that for?
Satellite's different. You take that.
The satellite telemetry?
Yeah. It's the big thing.
Well, what that is a GPS unit, and it's going to send off readings every hour. We get a reading on where the bird is, and actually not only does that tell us where it's traveling, but also the health of the bird. If the bird isn't moving, that's not a good thing. So it really is very beneficial in several ways. So if the bird's not moving, we'll go find that bird. We'll know exactly where he is and recover him and make sure he's okay. So those are some advantages. But really, we get to find out where this bird is going. Up in the Arctic, the birds will travel all the way down to Colombia. So there's never been a study in the southern region before with satellite telemetry on a peregrine falcon. So we'll get to see where this bird is moving from the southern region of the United States. Information that's never been acquired before. So that's the exciting part of this.
Very cool.
Yeah.
All right.
Where are other peregrines nesting now closest to here?
Probably Smoky Mountains.
In Atlanta.
And also Atlanta. Yeah, there aren't many nesting pairs in the south.
Yeah. Here's Ken Dupke. Come on, step in the frame here, Ken. Ken knows a lot about the local population.
Well, I've been kind of following. As of last year, they had 13 active nests over in western North Carolina. And I just learned they had 2 active sites downtown Atlanta, probably downtown in the big buildings. And then in Kentucky, they had another 13 active nests, and principally along the Ohio River on bridges. So they're very adaptable, and they was the first bird that was put on the Endangered Species Act along with the bald eagle. And the good news, we have 100 bad stories for every good story. And the recovery of the peregrine, which is an interesting story on itself. This man up at Cornell University, Tom Cade, vowed that he would not let them disappear. So he's the one that spent his life, and they released over 2,000 peregrines. And what we want to do is get them back here. So up in Minnesota, I'll give you a good example, one on adaptability. On the bridges along the Mississippi River. I don't know if I told you folks this story or not, but I read where they have, well, it'd be like a railroad bridge below Chickamauga Dam on the boats lift up, and they learned that a peregrine had nested successfully on a bridge that went up and down every time a boat went through. And they started checking, and they found farther up the river they had a story just like that themselves. So the birds are extremely adaptable, and we'll see. We want them to adapt here, and I like the slow release here. We were discussing this, and they had a chance to look around, and the one downtown, he's still looking, and I'd like to think that he's going to call that home, and even next year or 2 years from now, and it's the male, maybe it's home, it's the male that sets up the territory, and the female's supposed to be flying around. She's the one that picks the house site. So, and that's what we ended up with Roy on the railroad bridge down there. Even a good story on that. He had 3 mates, and the one mate disappeared on him, and he is a hacked bird, by the way, from Cloud Lake Canyon State Park. 13 years old when he died. And a female showed up, but she was in brown plumage like these birds. And apparently she was raised in the wild. She was not used to trains on the bridge. Roy would sit there, and, you know, freight train go rumbling over, and so be it. That's just part of life. And she'd be in there on the cavity, and when the train would come like that, and she'd run over, and she'd fly over to Chickamauga Dam or someplace, and come back 30 minutes, an hour later. She'd go back in. Of course, another train came by. Needless to say, we didn't have any reproduction that year, but the next year we did. So anyway, we turned over here to Dale.
Okay, well, good.
Great.
That sounds good to me.
Thank you very much.
Your name, Sam, your name?
Why did they end up leaving the
Y-O-U-R.
area originally?
Well, what happened is Roy...
Oh.